So with me now, Dave Longhurst. Commiserations, Dave. 2 championships. You tried to win the World Championships. Not happened this weekend for you?
No, it didn't. But then you got to have the downside to make the good times seem good, didn't you?
Yeah, indeed. Good to see a smile on your face despite that. How did the race go for you? You seemed to be slow away at the start, and then.
Yeah, so I thought the weather was playing into our hands really, but the track was really greasy under the scoreboard bend. It's had a lot of push coming out of there, but yeah, as I say, it was quite happy with the way it was going, but just didn't have enough grip and enough speed today.
What happened last night in the 2 litre world when you get caught up with Mr. Burksfield?
Yeah, that's it. As I say, just a case of having a look at the videos in it and you see what happened on the videos. But yeah, we've all got our own views of what happened. So.
And you're going to continue, obviously you'll be continuing the Nationals. It's probably a daft question, you're very dedicated to it.
Yeah, that's right. As I say, all the time we're still enjoying it and we've got the sponsors there to help out with the money on it, then yeah, we'll carry on with, whether we can carry on with both or what, I don't know, but so we'll carry on with what we can. Good,
great to see you here again, still smiling after your result today.
Yeah, well, that's it, we're just doing it for the enjoyment, and we say you've got to remember that's, at the bottom line, that's what we're doing it for, it's for fun.
Yep, great attitude towards it. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Barry, then you've seen plenty of World Hot Rod finals, been involved in many of them. How does that compare?
The best, I'm afraid so. That was one of the cleanest, fastest, best races I've seen for, well, ever. It was fantastic.
I think for a good public spectacle when Malcolm got away so far in front?
Yeah, that can happen, can't it? You know, his car can go on 3 cylinders, he can get a puncher, he can get into a bit of traffic. The second place guys never let up at all, and it just went for a fantastic race. You know, everybody looked at the flag signals. Some of them did make it a wee bit hard, but you can't have 100%, but that was 98% the best race you'll ever see. And that's where hot rodding's going now.
And what would you make a Phil Spinks drive from the back?
From 14th, I think it was on the grid. Just incredible. Read the race correctly, sat there for a long, long time, and then suddenly thought, hey, there's a final left to go. He took his brain out, and away he went. Very clean, raced right the way through to second place. Fantastic.
It's all important, the tyre choice, doing something like that, preserving the car. You're an expert at that in your day.
Yeah, tyre choice is always important, but there again, it's down to the driver. You know, you can run wets and go quickly, and you can run slicks in the wet and go quickly. It's really down to how the setup of the car is and what the driver thinks the weather's going to do.
I think you're going to be racing this afternoon. Is Duffy coming out to join you in the race?
Yeah, we are racing this afternoon, George and myself. It's a shame that Duffy has built a car, but it's not a retro car. It is an old one, but it's a shame because George's and mine are the like 30-year-old cars, and they've got 150 horsepower engines in, where Duffy's got like a bigger engine, all the latest suspension on it, and it's a great shame. We won't be racing against Duffy, but we're put on some show with him.
Good. Look forward to seeing you this afternoon later, Barry.
Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks. So we seem to catch up with Graham Brown every year. Graham's seen all the Hot Rod World Finals, and that one bit of possession after the first couple of laps.
Yeah, I suppose so. There was still plenty going on in the places, though, Stephen. Really, when you look at it, I mean, look at Phil Spinks' blast through the field. I mean, that was really quite something. And if anything's ever going to prove to Phil Spinks that he needs to qualify better, surely today must have done. You know.
Has he done all the rounds, though, Phil? I mean, has he missed any rounds to put him down?
He has missed some rounds, and he hasn't always been brilliant at the rounds he has done. He's been very kind of hot and cold. Some days he's brilliant, some days he's just not so good, you know. So, as I say, if this result hasn't proved to him that he needs to do better in the qualifying, nothing ever will. He's the only driver that would have had anything for Blackman today if he'd been starting near the front.
And what do you make of the start of the race when Carl seemed to blow it right at the start and drop back quickly?
Yeah, well, he probably just didn't like the slippery conditions. That little tiny rain shower just before the start was obviously going to make life very, very tricky, and a lot of the cars were slipping and sliding around. I knew Andy Stewart would come on strong in that period. I also knew he was in big trouble the minute it started to dry out, I'm afraid.
What about the traffic? It seemed the stage when James Jameson was lying second to get stuck behind Trevor Stroud for lap after lap. Is that a problem for them?
Well, traffic's always a problem in this race, Steve, you know that. I mean, the back markers, by the time you get beyond half distance, they're fighting for places themselves. They might even be able to get on the podium. I mean, look, Blackman's 3/4 of a lap up very nearly at the end. You could be running in a place and be a lap down, no problem. So do you want to give it up and let somebody else through? Generally speaking, no, you don't. The biggest problem I saw actually in traffic terms terms. And fortunately, Ricky Hunn see it coming sooner rather than later, was where he'd been running alongside Stuart Doak for a long, long time. And then Blackman turned up behind him, and I thought, I wonder if they know he's there. But Ricky did eventually drop down to the inside, let him by. So fair play to Rick for that.
219, Stuart Thompson, Paul Holter in 174, Jack Blackman 3765, 612, 65, Dave Brooks 118, Ross Eaton, Warren Jack 22, Mark Gordon, National Champ 161, Danny Holt, and Treble 2, the Dutchman, John Garman. They're all over the place, aren't they? In trouble here on the home straight for Richard Clubley and plenty of others as well. And Clubley waving his arms, I think we'll have a red, I think, at the start of the race. Simon Walton, who still leads the way in 160. So the red car on the turnstile then, they're closing in fast now. 95, John Saunders, and then 114, Eddie Edmonds is third, and then 59, Steve Hamilton, 176, Barry Jones. Jacko's coming up fast now. He goes fast as they can in the conditions. He is now up into 6th place. And the change on lead as they head down the far side. 95 then, John Saunders now the new race leader. The old first ball, Christoph, down there, 95. 160 second, 114 third, so probably really got very much idea, I would think. Conditions like this. And with all due respect to John, he's not too often yet accustomed to winning races, although he has a good one. So 14 laps and now that is 5 next time. And 95, 160 and 114 are the front runners. And then 59, 376 and 176. So 5 laps to go. Here comes the leader then, John Saunders in 95. Simon Walton and Eddie Edmonds, all three power grade drivers. It just goes to show what we were saying earlier on. You can be as fast as you like normally, but in conditions like this, you can only go as fast as the conditions will allow. You want to go any faster than that, you can find yourself in some big trouble. So John Saunders then down the far side. Has actually stopped raining, I think. World champion retires. Mark Campbell in 22. So he goes out onto the infield with just a handful of laps to go. Sure, Gary Sparks is still out there or not? Yes, I got Gary. He's a bit wide there, but he's a long way down the grid. And the race is still being led by 95. John Saunders. That's really good this weekend. Here comes in 95 in the white car. Eddie Edmonds is now up to second in 114. 160 is third, 376. Coming with a right rush at the end is fourth. There's been plenty of drama on the entrance to the home straight, and it's left Barry Jones sitting there. Although I think he can at least move. Anyone coming wide out on the scoreboard then is going to get a bit of a shock to see him there. We are on the last lap, so we'll run it anyway. And down the far side, still 95. John Saunders with the lead. Eddie Edmonds second in 114. Jacko is up to third. Sorry, Walton, who had been for a long time, has gone. And coming to win it, here he is. 95. Well done, John Saunders. Eddie Edmonds every race without a second. Jacko is third in 376. And then fourth is going to be. I think we'll confirm the rest, but we best have a red, I think, this is the start of the race.
Martin on video, swimming all the action this weekend. So the way the race then, the green flags are away. Not perhaps the high speeds we expect from the two in hot rods, but they are into stride. And a good grid of cars with some quality names. So our running leader is 174 in treble 4. So Chris here in the 174 now passed by Sam Shovelin in that treble 4. There's going to be plenty of chopping and changing on this one, new favour. As the two in the hot rods race over 30 laps. It's certainly a marathon trip for these in these particular conditions. We shall see how we go. So on to lap number 3. Italy on the home straight is a little bit wayward. Here we go with Jason then in 174, who's back in front. Sam is down to second. Kind of 11 up to third. Then 77, 152. And 308 Mark Cooper, who really has impressed me in the early stages of his touring hot rod career. And again yesterday, the former Lightning Rod driver looked very impressive indeed. So certainly one to watch in the next year or so in this formula. But it's Jason Q, who also caught the eye yesterday as being fairly impressive. Down wicket into the back marker at 145, 11, 308, 444, 77, 172. Colin Hitch always goes well in the way. Had a win here at Speedweekend a couple of years ago in similar conditions to this. And there he is currently alongside 182, the banger ace Paul Tompkins. With his 152 Dave Hitchin away to our right. As the rest go on then. We're on to lap number 6. A 174, he's still clear here. 308 though, Mark Cooper, the one we set to watch, was absolutely flying. And take a look around the turnstile bend, he's alongside him. And at the moment he's making this look very, very easily indeed. So Cooper goes through in 308, 174, 11, 182, 172, and then 274. But at the moment, it does look as though it's going to be a case of by how far for 308. We quite often say the words taken to a back and up to water. It's more apt today that it's along those lines with the conditions as they are. But still we're only on lap 8 and a long way to go. The 308 is clear now, 174, 11, 182, 274, 172 and 77. We look back down the grid for the progress of the world champion. And certainly not going as well in these conditions as he did yesterday. Kevin Randall 96, who regained his title last evening in a dramatic world final. We've lost treble 6 broadside across the track at a turnstile end. So we just check to see whether he's going to move that. He's in a very good position there. We lose Mark Peck in 412 and treble 6 is still there. And we are going to have to go yellow line if it doesn't move. We are going to do that now. So the yellow flag's now. So once again, the Speedway pace car leads the raceway and away we go. Although it tightened things up, 308 Mark Cooper, the way he was going in the early stages. We lost another one this time under the scoreboard. I'm not sure who that is. That could well be number 11. So car number 11 has gone round away to our left. The only slight consolation, he is off the line, but again it may well be that he's not going to move. And we are going to have to go yellow again, Alan. So once again the yellow flags up. Race car leaves the raceway almost sideways, but managed to get off with a great run of knots, and the hot rods are away again. And 308 Mark Cooper has the lead, but just look at driver number 60, he's on the charge, Mark Paffey, 182, Paul Tompkins in behind, and 174, then we get 48, and 948. 48 is a bad marker, so he's not part of the main race with Gary Farrington. But it's Mark Cooper, but Mark Paffey, who knows this raceway like the back of his hand, is now leading the charge and very much a danger. Right into the second half of the race we go then, 308, 60 and 182 as they come towards us once more. And it's Cooper still from Mark Paffey in the beautifully turned out to the hot rod of car 60. Paul Tompkins and Bang of Fame in third, and 174 who set the early pace. Jason Q is fourth. Dogs and Bangs come on the home straight, in front of the world champion, but more of a racing instinct rather than anything else. 68 Mark Fuller has a problem. And here we go up the home straight once more with Cooper leading in 308. 60, we've lost Sammy Shuttle on the back straight in treble 4, although he is on the speedway. So it's now a straight dogfight between car 308 and 60, with 308 seemingly having the upper hand, but 60 is the big winning. They've pulled away from 182, 174, 274 and others as they come towards us once again. Time begins to run out for the remainder. You look down the field at 7 of the star names, the 1-2 in last night's world final, 96 or 155, well over half an up adrift in this one. but it is a quality field of drivers. But here we go on lap number 20, 3:08 and 60. Here they come towards us, passing the back marking. Dan Wiggins in 1:45. And 60 is certainly closing in, so it's 3:08 and 60. A massive gap back to 182 and 174. But let's concentrate on the front two as they head down into the turnstile bend once again and into the final 10 laps of racing. And Cooper has the inside line. 60 Mark Puffy is waiting for a way through and perhaps waiting for a mistake as 60 is right now on the back end of the 3:08 car as they head into the scoreboard turn. And it's 3:08 from 60. And which way does Pappy go? He's a driver that's gone around the outside many times in the past, and maybe that will be the way through this time round, but certainly not going to be easy. Cooper has got it all over him like a rash as they come up the home straight, then 3:08 out wide, 60 on the inside, not necessarily the place to be, and 60 gets on the inside, and Puffy lives through. So then on lap number 22, it's a change of lead for number 60, Mark Puffy, who goes through. The question is, can Cooper come back? You thought perhaps the answer may be no. Most of the other drivers now taking them very, very wide outside line, and perhaps that's the place to be. Having said that, though, they're already half an up off the pace. 2:09, Kim Weaver, right around the arm car, around the turnstile bend, and making good strides. But we go back to the leader, who's about to come up to Matt Marcus, who is about to go into the turn, 4:06, 997. And fellow Irishman Alvin Dover just ahead of them as they can't go. So this time, Alan, it's 24 laps done, it's 5 next time, and there's drama for Kim Weaver on the back straight. The European champion is round. Dan Wiggins involved in 1:45 as 2:09 is broadside across the circuit. And we just check over there, we're into the final stages. The 5 laps about to come upon us. Puffy is through in 60. He's quickly got Cooper away here. Third is still with 944. So Kim Weaver then still looking as though he's going to move from there. 145 is slightly protecting him. We are into the closing stages. 4 laps remain now for 60. 3:08 has been dropped very, very quickly. So 60 then, about to lap the current world champion in 96 is out wide. 60 nips to the inner and down the back side they go. At least all the drivers now know that 209 is there as they enter the turnstile bend again. Alan Harbour readies the 3-lap board and through comes Puffy in 60. There's not too much he hasn't raced in the rod variety in his time, but now very much a regular in the 2-litre hot rods, and a quiet day yesterday when several would have put him as one of the favourites for the World Championship, and he's certainly back to his best now. 3:08 Mark Cooper looks booked for second. The third is with 944, which is Ronnie McMillan, as the 2-lap board is out. And through they go, 77 Andy Owen this time takes to the very, very wide outside of the Armco. And here we go with our race leader down the back straight, coming to past the back marking, Mickey Packard in 197. And Gary Farrington, who's been lapped at least once. Here he comes then, just 1 lap remains then over Vauxhall Bowl, and 60 is well clear and not for stopping here. 3:08 is there in second, he's not going to be caught by mechanical problems. 994 third, 182 fourth, 171 fifth, and 274 after those. But rounding the turnstile bend for the 30th and final time, and coming through to take the win is 60 Mark Puffy, back to his best in the win. 3:08 Mark Cooper second, and we now will go to Red Allen as there's problems on the back straight, and we'll take the result if necessary. the start was Jimmy Orange. 741 is second, and in the black, number 7, Colin Farley, and Jack is third. As always, then, there's the Floors and Spurs, front of the games, from the Banner Boys. But it's still Sonny Sherwood, heading down the home straight, 348. It's Colin, he's got a whole bunch of back arms, run 6 laps already in, so it's 5 next time. So Sonny Sherwood then 348. Meanwhile there's action breaking out between Mark Longhurst and John Cullingford on the speedway. Cullingford's back in with that big old rover. Still leads the way. Making his way through the back markers and heading down the far side in the Granada estate, but behind him there's all sorts of drama breaking out. 741, the second place car's gone in there and scattered them. So Cullingford still running in second. Colin Farley running in second in 741. And number 7, Colin Farley is third. So all been quite lively really, considering the conditions. 3 laps to go. And Sonny Sherwood, 348, there he is, heading down the home straight. Takes the 3-lap ball. Here comes the second man in there in 741, Luke Marvin. And then number 7, Colin Farley, still running third, and Cecil is fourth in 194. Oh, there's already another big pile up on the far side, and Mark Bryant's big jag is mixed up in that. Chris Smith is already in it. Willie Scholes has gone crashing in over there as well, and Mike Guilford's joined in as well. So does Cecil. Oh, they're all on that back straight. That was definitely the place to buy the tickets for this race. But the front runners, I think, are affected. Sonny Sherwood heading down the home straight then in 348. Takes the last lap ball from Adam Starter. He's now miles ahead. Here's the second man, 741, Luke Marvin. Colin Farley is still third. It's going to be Sonny Sherwood taking yet another win as more drama breaks out. Shakes up there, coming through, no damage. Second place to go as well. Sonny Sherwood does the honours, and he's done it by miles. There's the second man, 741, Luke Parfit. Here comes Colin Farley in car number 7 to be third, and following Colin, well, who knows? Nobody seems to want to be fourth. Then coming through to complete the distance for 10 heavyweight, and his fourth. Cecil is fifth in 194. I think they're all done and dusted now, Madam Starter. So with that, red flag, please.
Sonny Sherwood, ladies and gentlemen, look at him smiling. Look at the rubbish all over his face after that rain. That's what did it, Graham?
It was. Okay, then away go the Stockroads. They have had a very, very good weekend. Early problems on the scoreboard then, so 924 Stuart McBride, slightly askew, certainly not way off being right, but anyway, he's still persisting with this round the outside. Is he going to make this work? Not quite. Stuart Smiley and James Fitter's Lever's finest, 447.49. It was going into the early lead, and I rather fancy that these two get out front. It might be very difficult to catch them. James Kent, that's Stuart Smiley down the far side. Smiley not hitting the pole, but he probably was favourite with or without that. 924 Stuart Wright still continuing to go right round the wide outside. It's an interesting tactic that we've seen used many times in national hot rods. It's so far as a job to say whether it's working or whether it's not. It probably isn't, but it looks quite spectacular anyway. That is where the best of the going is. Blue flag 447. as the start of the race leader. And Dean Simpson, Speedway's European final for this year, has made out to third in 27. Then it's Andy Sturt in 168. Then the first of the Midlanders, Stuart Fox, in 8:29. Stimson and Sturty, then Stuart Fox, Lee Nichols, also making good progress here, the world champion, 77, Alan Connolly, up into 7th, that's his number, 9:24 in progress, well he's done about 6 laps more than everybody else with this round the outside line. Sadly he's not made any progress at all. Jumps out over his friends in the crowd. Preston Jackson's gone in 300, so he started in grid 3, but his race has come to a fairly early end. The man making all the moves here is the world champion, 77, Alan Connolly. He's now up into 6th place, and I think he can get more than that over this on that line, 35, so only quarter of the way. Had some fantastic finishes for the stock rods almost everywhere this year. Mallory, of course, is where they really re-established themselves with some cracking racing on the big mile oval up there, and all the short ovals as well. We had some brilliant racing. Swaffham, here, Ipswich and Yarmouth, Eastbourne, of course, their stronghold down in the south. And this may be another one of those very, very close finishes. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but you'd be surprised. Stuart Smythe then twitching a bit, but still leading the way at 4:47. 49 James Kent still second. It's 27 Stilson is giving him a hard time now for that second place. And then Andy Sturt in 168 coming along in 4th. Lee Nichols fifth in 129, way back. And then 77 Alan Connolly, the world champion, further back still, 12 laps in, so 1/3 the way now. While I didn't think Connolly might be the man to watch, he's not really making the sort of progress he would hope to. The only thing I think he really hope for now is that these front runners are really held up by that very big bunch of black markers beginning to move up ahead of them down the far side. Straight goes Stuart, still with the lead. Andy Sturt is looking for 3rd as they go past the scoreboard bend, but Dean Stimson for the moment staves him off. Still Stuart Smythe then still leading the way in 4:47, very, very experienced driver. Originally in the mini stocks, but gone into the stock rods where he's been for several years now, been European champion in his time. And many others too numerous to mention around the world, surprisingly. Very well. 49, James Kent, newcomer to Speedway last year, still running 2nd. 2017, Stimson still 3rd. Andy Sturt really giving him quite a rough time of it now. Sturdy deciding I think he's going to have to go on the outside of Stimson if he wants to get through. And then 129 and 77 are still 5th and 6th. sort of altercation with Kim Carter. Also going out 33. John Mooney at that stage. Lanca's back in, or will be. This slide sweeps past and on his way in 4:47. 49, still running second. 27 still third. And 30 is still fourth. You can see the first three trophies go down to on this one. Unless something quite extraordinary happens. And it's going to be Stuart Smythe, James Kent, and Dean Stimson. Never count your chickens. So well done to Andy. Yet another trophy. A few years ago he used to say he never won anything important on the car, but things have changed in a big way since. And now an absolute snap of his cap, just a new one for good measure. Coming through for second place, when we're talking of the Arlington Raceway, he's the current Sussex champion there of our season-long series, and he goes very, very well indeed, and has impressed since he came into the Formula at the Winter Wimbledons a year or so ago. And here he is for second this afternoon in the European Challenge Cup. It's 49, James Kent. Here he comes then, James. Still very much a young driver who will, I'm sure, go on to bigger things in his time. But again, good drive from 49.
Here he comes then, resplendently smiling across his face. Give it up for Stuart Smythe. Here's Stu. Straight in there for a kiss, as you would expect. So Stu smiles, motos, been done and dusted.
So after all the drama of the 2004 World Championship, many of those world cars have taken the chance to come out here and compete in the first of the afternoon support races. But setting the early pace, Steve Thompson in 170, the former 2-litre hot rod racer, with Colin Smith there right with him. And as they go down that far side, Smithy takes up the running, so 491. Regular in World Hot Rod Finals a couple of years back, and always a strong competitor. Seems to love Ipswich. He leads the way. Steve Thompson second, who many see as a potential world champion, maybe next year, maybe the year after a very good career in the 2 litres. James Jameson, Ricky Hunn, Neville Stanley, Dean Wood, many of the drivers from the World Final taking a chance for another run round Vauxhall this afternoon. The glory is gone, but there's still races to be won here and still a bit of prize money to make it all worthwhile. Meanwhile, further down the grid, this is looking very interesting. On the turnstile bend, there's a huge bunch of cars here, and this looks as though it could well end in tears, and it does. Ricky Hunn goes round, somebody else is round as well. Owen Will, the Scotsman, 699, he anchors up there. That looks red flag, Mr. Starter, please. So red flag sees the demise of Les Compelli, who's had a disastrous weekend, and a couple of others have gone with him as well. Vesto. After that, they all race on, and Steve Thompson it is who's made the best start in 170 after Colin Smith maybe just left a little bit behind there when it all got going again. So Thompson and Smith, the gap may be a little bit too big this time. Beyond that, Andy Holtby is going quite nicely in 61, and then Billy Bonner in 844, who's had some eventful speed weekends in his time. 151, Joey Butler, also in amongst that group with 302, and more drama on the entrance to the home straight as 141 goes round. But so far so good. And still Thompson leading the way from Smith. Those two fairly well clear of the rest. The main bunch really, I suppose, is arguing now over about 5th and 6th. Andy Holtby, Joey Butler, Dean Wood, James Jameson. They're all mixed up in the mix there as they head down to that scoreboard bend. This is some way behind the leaders, but it's still perhaps where the best part of the race currently is. Neville Stanley's in there as well. So Dean Wood and James Jameson down that far side. This little group, that looks as though it's got some action perhaps still to come, but it is still some way behind Steve Thompson and Colin Smith, who still lead the way. Andy Holtby, I think, may just have oh no, Andy Holtby is still with them, but he's gradually being overtaken by this fast moving pack as they come down the home straight. Andy Holtby, another one that many people are tipping for big things in years to come. But this is the man I think they're really all talking about at the moment, Steve Thompson in 170. Colin Smith still second, but being hounded by Billy Bonner as they go down that far side. That's an interesting little battle as well, as two of them but he'll never give way for anything. Jameson gets the better of Dean Wood for the next place, but none of this is going to worry Thompson up at the head of the grid, who is pulling further and further away. There goes Smith and Bonner still battling away. Jameson just beyond them in fourth. The race getting towards its final stages, and Bonner has found a way past Smith. That looked as though there might have been a slight bit of contact there, but nevertheless they still race on. Bonner's now got the inside line on Smithy, though Smithy eventually has to give way. He slips back to second. Bonner back to third. Bonner goes up to second, but it's still the length of a straight behind Steve Thompson in 1:70. The man from Scunthorpe, the last man from Scunthorpe, of course, was Stuart Donald, who made a name for himself in the Super Rods many years ago. Further back down the field, Dean Wood, after starting quite well in this one, is now being passed by Adam Scott. Jameson is now closing in on Bonner and Smith for that second place. A bit like the World Final, really. It's all about who's going to be second. We know who's going to win it. Steve Thompson is well and truly away now, almost half a lap clear. But Bonner in second, Smith in third, Jameson in fourth. Two Scotsmen sandwiching the Englishman. The rest, I'm afraid, really are very much just battling for the minor places. Trouble here though for Joey Butler, and so I'm not quite sure he's mixed up down there on that scoreboard then, but two of them there. But again, safely out of harm's way. No problems for Thompson anyway. He continues on his way unchallenged, no back markers anywhere to be seen. Second and third we need a telescope to see. There they are, Bonner, Smith and Jameson. And then the fifth man just beyond those, again not really in contention. So this really is the main excitement of this race, other than the fact that Steve Thompson is certainly sending out credentials as one to watch for the forthcoming season. Trevor Stimpson looks as though he's got serious problems in 27. Imagine he'll be retiring any moment now, joining what is quite a collection on the infield. And he does coast it to a halt by the scoreboard bend, in fact. The rest of them, meanwhile, still on their way, but it's a hopeless chase. Steve Thompson well and truly on his way to winning this in 1:70. Half a lap clear. The battle for second is still raging. Bonner's still got the upper hand of that on the moment, but Thompson is heading towards the line, and this is going to be certain victory with just one lap to go. He never did win the 2-litre Hot Rod World, but he may well settle for the National Hot Rod World, maybe next year, maybe the year after, but he'll certainly win it one day, that is for certain. He heads down the far side and coming round to what is going to be an absolute runaway victory, and margin nearly as great as Malcolm Blackman's earlier on in the day. The battle for second is still with Bonner, then Jameson, as Thompson takes the victory, a victory that never really looked in doubt once he got past Smith. This is where the doubt has been, though, but finally Bonner and Jameson come through for second and third. The others come through. Smithy fell back quite a little bit of a way there in the finish, but finally they are all done. So red flag, Mr. Starter, please.
Let's bring him up here. 844, Billy Bonner. We love Bill. Well done, Bill. Excuse Billy. Go on, Billy. Doesn't want me anymore. Billy. So there's 844 Billy Bonner. This guy is, what a future he's got in National Hot Rod Racing. Absolutely brilliant. Let's bring him up on stage then. Here he is, Steve Thompson. Well done, collects his trophy from Peter Brown of the Peter Brown Group. turns to face the cameras.
So then sit back and enjoy. Away go the stock cars. The race scheduled for Sunday. And in Detroit we go. 152. Tyrone Bolton. Had a fantastic day yesterday with a third and a first. He's in front. We've lost 445. He's rather stricken at the entrance, the back straight, and somehow they all avoid him. Incredible stuff. Meanwhile, we've lost 97 away to our right. He's now moving on the back straight, so we're okay there. Let Bowman commence. There's a stop pass. We probably after yesterday deserved about 4 races today, but it's a shame they've only got one. 152 then, as we were yesterday. We've lost one on the entrance to the home straight. 69 weight, Smee at 7. It's Gary Finch, another one that's got mark. He's moving off in 317, 252. Up over the speedway on the turn. We've lost Billy in 305. Meanwhile, here we go on lap number 3 with 152. Young Tyro leading the charge. 385, 82, 404 and 220. And almost at start 8 heading towards the scoreboard turn. And a rapid rate of knots. So far so good. 69 now out of harm's way against the Armco. The turnstile end of the circuit, we lose 441, this time on the back straight. 204 in Blackburn. Yes, that's one aside. He's flipped over a few times in that exact same instance. And a Speedweekend, but not on this occasion. German City won't be winning. He's casualty on the back straight and losing valuable ground. Meanwhile, Jamie Bryan in 611 is a casualty on the entrance this time to the home straight. We go back to the leaders now, and it's 152. Here comes Tyrone out in front. Second is 385, Kevin Furlow. Then we get 82 and 404. And at the moment, the Star Raiders are struggling to make their presence felt as they down the back straight then. Tyrone is clear. And Kevin Furlow at 82. We've lost Stu in 414. So it's lap number 7 then of 25 in this afternoon Supreme Championship for the stock cars. 414 and 611. Soon over the entrance to the home straight. This one is very wide around the scoreboard turn. We look for our leader who's coming towards us now. It's 152. Tinsman City is a back marker. It's right in behind him, and perhaps something for the youngster to think about. So 152, 385, 82. Beyond that we see Cecil at 194. 404 has got through on the home straight, 611 rejoined, and we lose the 307 car. Here on the home straight, 404 also pulls up. Relatively quiet so far, but Rebel gets the lead, so Ferro way to go. 152 still clear, 611 could be another upset as they come to the home straight then. The back marking Jamie Ryan, giving young Tyrone something to think about as we're on to lap number 10 of 25. There's drama for Derry London lead gold around the turnstile then as Chris Woods puts the bumper work in. And then three abreast up the home straight with Aaron Morris in 191. Meanwhile, Tyrone is clear. Furlow is second. Those two got a useful lead over Rob Mallard at 82. Cecily 194. And then we see the 1-2 up car. Chris Woods is a retirement on the back straight. Aaron Morris gets a spinning treatment here on the home straight. Exactly as 404 had a couple of laps ago. Meanwhile, as we approach halfway, 152 is clear. And still leading by a fair old distance. 191 rejoins right in front of the leader. And his former B-Stock colleagues. So 152 then heads to the turn once more. And up the home straight goes Tyrone. 385 is second. 82 still there in third. Cecil has been passed by 392. Julian Smith as they head towards the scoreboard. Tinsman City finally pulls it up on the back straight. Cecil gets spun fence bound by 121. And the 194 car rather stuck in the middle of the track, but he's still moving. And hopefully Steve can get on to safety. But he's lost out on the potential trophy here in the Supreme Championship of 2004. So we look to the lap sheet, just that 15, off 25, and still it's the monster from that worthy 152 that leads. And if anything, the lead has got bigger. So Tyrone is clear. The second is now 392, Julian Smith. The third 385, he's about to be passed by driver number 46 down the back straight. 11 lead bold in the back marker right ahead of the back of the third. And about to get them up for his 4. 1, 2, 1, both thundering into the turn. And it's John for 385 and number 4. The ring with a chance of a trophy. We lose 76. Terry Norris is had a nightmare weekend as 152 puts them up for it on the back markers. Around the turn, he's still a long way clear. Almost a straight clear at 392. Julian Smith, 46 and 121 up next. And then it's 116 Diggy, 170, 117, 41 Willie Scrolls, who takes to the speedway. But it's still Tyrone Poulter who leads the charge in 152 as we begin to run out of time for the remainder. But I have to say, it doesn't matter whether it's 50 laps, he'd still be the runner in front of the seats at the moment. As a lead following on from his father in the Bagger footsteps. And in recent times, Ricky Baggers at 152 leads up the home straight once more. And as he goes through this time, Michael, it's 19 laps down and 5 laps next time. Drama on the entrance to the home straight, 46 going in backwards with 170. I think 121 was to get involved in all of that. And the final step of the room policy, we're going down 5 laps for 152. 385, who was closest to him at one stage, is now a lap marker. Julian Smith is beginning to close, but time is running out very, very quickly. Here on the home straight, the leader's gone on the back straight, 152. Someone's been rammed here on the home straight. 121 going straight into the stricken 46 car, and we check on the well-being of Paul Howard, and he seems okay. So then, 152, while all that was going on, has lost out, 392. He's now in front, and all of a sudden, 116 is there in second, 152 is back in third, Samantha's fourth, and then after that, a long, long way back, but there was drama on the home straight while the lead was changing on the back straight, and young Tyrone's chance of a win seems to have gone. So 2.5 laps remain, and it's 392, it's 116 and 152, that's how they run as the penultimate lap ball goes out, and through goes Julian, through goes Diggy, through goes Tyrone. 46 and 121 still in their cars here on the home straight, could be worth keeping half an eye on that. 170 on the straight on the back straight, he's in retirement. With the final lap ball at the ready of what's been perhaps not quite as lively as some eventful in other ways. In the Southland Stock Car Supreme Championship is heading down the back straight for the final time. 392, Julian Smith, who's been in good form all weekend without really looking like a win until now. And coming through to take the Supreme Championship, Julian Smith takes the flag. Diggy is second, third will be Tyrone, who perhaps deserved more. Samantha was fourth, and then after that we get to 117, 53, 196 to keep them coming, because some of these are some way back. There's more drama for 11, 41, and number 7 who go in all directions here on the home straight. The rest of the cars come through to complete the distance. We'll ask you, Mike, for a red flag to end the 2004 Stock Car Supreme Championship, which surprisingly some would say goes the way of the East Anglians.
To the lad from down in the south, 152, Tyrone Poulter. There he is, there's Tyrone, as Graham has referred to. Graham Poulter, his father, very well-known banger driver from the Bashers team, and nowadays the rookie banger track champion down at Arlington. Coming through in second place then, he's got his lightning rod race to come next, 116, Diggy Smith. And taking the win, he's had a fairly dominant weekend really in the stock cars, hasn't he? 392, that's Julian Smith. And with a broken foot as well, really?
up. Stephen Emerson down to second in 9.23. And Gavin Bockfield up to third in 3.05. Tucked in behind in 3.25 at number one, Leighton Marston. In just beyond that, Rob Capon has slid out up there on the turnstile bend. could have been nasty, but unfortunately wasn't. So the Irishman is still okay. And here on the home straight, Gary Leeds has disappeared in a huge cloud of smoke. It still hasn't really cleared. And we're now on lap 26, so we're getting towards the end of this Budweiser 500. 9:23. Steve Emerson is had a few scares here, but now he's got a nice clear run from here on in. 3:05, Gavin Lockfield still running second. 3:25, Trevor Buckley is third. Number 1, Raymond Larson is fourth. 3:02, Paul Harris is fifth. And 4:56, Darren Gowdy is in sixth. The field beginning to dwindle in number. A few more before the end of this, I'm sure. Stephen Emerson, who's been very near to winning this Budweiser 500 before. He had a bit of a do with Gavin Murray, you might remember, a few years ago. Then him and Mark Keys, I think, were leading it last year when some sort of misfortune struck. I can't remember what it was, and it would go over damage. But this time, the man from Northern Ireland is looking as though he's on his way. Close for second now, 3:05, 3:25. Number 1, 3:02 and 4:56. Absolutely nothing between them. Steve Emerson treading something of a lonely furrow with 10 laps to go. And strangely, actually, had a bit of a confrontation with Gavin Murray a few years ago, the Budweiser 500. The car just ahead of Emerson is the aforementioned Mr. Murray. I don't imagine there'll be any problems. Just one of those quirky little coincidences. Still, the battle for second is unresolved, but it's still Gavin Mockfield who's got it in 3:05 from Trevor Buckley and Raymond Larson.
Third place in that race. He actually found it easier on the track than we needed to find him, but well done. Third place goes to Trevor Buckley. Well done to Trevor. He takes the third place. Second place goes to a very committed driver who certainly deserves a trophy. Here he is, it's Gavin Potfield, so well done to Gavin. Second place for him. And the trophy, but I'm sure he's not too worried about the trophy, it's the alcohol he's after, and I'm sure that won't last too long with the Ladies and gentlemen, coming through to take the Budweiser 500 of 2004, it's 923 Stephen Everson. So well done to Steve. We'll put those three awards down to the pace car for your applause.
So after one of the legends of yesteryear out last night, putting in some cracking times, Mick Collin, how's it feel like to get back behind the wheel, Mick?
Well, it's a big shock to me. You're not in shock to the system, but it's like riding a bike, I think.
Yeah, you certainly weren't going slow with that old Escort. Where did the car come from?
The car, well, we built the car over the last sort of 6 or 8 weeks with Terry George. He was the person that kept ringing me up and spending 2 hours at a time on the car. He said, there was always 3 of you, not 2 of you. And I said, well, 2's companies, 3's a crowd.
And what you're planning to do with the car for the rest of the season now is built?
If the public want to see it, we will come out and we will race it. If nobody wants to, I don't want to be in Barry and George's way. I really, I like to see what they're doing, and I do think the public do. But like, whatever we raise with the car, we're going to donate to a children's charity.
That's certainly very generous. What have you been doing yourself since you've been away from the race, and how's your health these days? Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, like, we like to laugh and joke about a bit of health, and you know, I mean, it as you get into your late 50s, it could always do a bit more wind behind us and a bit more air. But like, I keep my little pump, my little steroid pump with me, and I'm brand new.
Just give a wee puff halfway down the street.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you take a deep breath and away you go. And no, I'm feeling well. I'm feeling well.
Have you been following Robert much? He's doing particularly well now in the touring cars.
Yeah, it's like I say to everybody, it's hereditary, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, when I was on it, he wasn't. Now he's on it, and I'm not. It's a long time since you get 2 collards on it all at the same time.
Yep, well, we're looking forward to seeing you out in the track this afternoon. I'm sure your fans are all looking forward to seeing you as well, Duffy.
Yeah, I think with this bit of weather, a bit of rain and everything else, it'll be really good, and it fetched a lot of memories back, and I hope the general public and everybody else enjoys it.
Yep, certainly I've enjoyed seeing you out there. I'm looking forward to it again.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
So I'm now resting here in the camper van. George, probably it's been a hectic weekend for you, George.
It's been a bit busy, and it rushing about like little racing drivers, me and Barry, you know. But the weekend generally is hectic anyway, getting the vans loaded and everything, but the business side of it, which is these days seems to have taken over from the old days when it was Jacko plus that working the van. Now the boys are doing it and me, you know. But it's hectic for an old man, you know.
Well, you were certainly showing the public you're still not lost any of your ability out there in that old angle box.
Yeah, that's sort of good, isn't it? You know, I like the old angle box. It was when we first picked one up, I suppose, just before Christmas to build it. You know, it took us about 8 weeks. I couldn't believe what sort of shape they really were, because having not seen one close up for a long time, suddenly the whole thing's like a tall, sit up and big thing, you know. And now I've even added to it with a 100E. I've got an old 100E shell, and that's even worse. You know what I mean? But nostalgic, because I suppose it was 67 when I had a 100E hot rod. And then after a couple of years I moved into the modern 105E Anglia as we now know it, which of course is old hat, isn't it? No, good.
I do remind you, of course, remember you're racing the old angle boxes. How did this come about that you decided to get back into it, you and Barney?
Well, I heard that Graham Brown had this idea a couple of years ago, but Malcolm Forbes come up with the idea this time last year. Called me and Barry, and we had a meeting about it, and the idea went down well with me and Barry, and of course it was the NEC to start with in, you know, the January show. Whatever we could pick up during the year to go and do. Well, so far we did Ringwood Easter, here we are at the World Final, and I think there's some other stuff planned, you know, and possibly some foreign stuff planned further afield, so that could be good as well.
And was Duffy ever in the equation? I see he's turned up now with the car, but was he ever in the equation at the start?
Well, he wasn't at the time. He always was a force to be reckoned with, but sometimes he raced, sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he got into trouble with the racing, and he was on a holiday, wasn't he? You know, from racing. But what I remember really was me and Leapy. You know, that was, and I think that's what most people did remember. But obviously Duffy's got a lot of fans out there. You know, I met one or two of them on the terraces last night with a mouthful of abuse. You know, where's Duffy? which of course Barry handled very well. No, it's he's built this Mark II, which I haven't actually seen the car, but from all reports, it's ever so nice. You know, it's been a really nice job done, professional job, and but it's sort of a 1980s car with a sort of up to date. Well, what was up to date, the big crossflow engine, as we call it, and we're running like the early 70s type crossflow, which is about 1660, about 155 horsepower, little A6 cam, something that was going to be all right noisy, we could drive them, but reliable. You know, we didn't want to break anything. We're running 9-inch rims, which we ran in the 70s instead of 10s that they're on today. Little 8.2 tyres, which was a tyre we ran then, and trying to keep it as we could, relatively 1970-ish, you know. I've even got a steering box in the Anglia, no rack and pinion on my car, mate. It's Barry's is on the leaf springs and that. We're both on the old anti-roll bar at the front, holding the wheels in place, you know. So we really are pretty vintage, you know.
And is the racing itself, is the racing, I know we've had 2 close finishes, is the racing real racing, or is it stage managed for the public's entertainment?
No, well, I don't think either of us had run away with it, you know what I mean? But it is good, the fact that we muck about a little bit. I mean, anybody would know that we muck about a little bit. But when it comes to getting to that flag from that last corner, then it is, as you say, it's balls out, you know what I mean? And I think it makes it more interesting for us, you know what I mean? It is good. And someone said Barry's had 2 wins. I said, no, he ain't. He had 1 and I had 1. They said, no, he had 2. I said, no, they were dead heats.
So is today going to be the decider and still to have 1 more race this afternoon?
Yeah, well, as long as we don't get a third party and we all end up with backache. Somebody said he's looking to get some purple on the car. I said, yeah, where does he want that purple across the back panel? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, won't we?
You've got quite a few of the family race now. Stephen certainly doing very well in the F2 scene. Dave, sorry, yeah, I've seen you.
That is, yeah, I know he's 6'3" or something or other, and 20 stone. We have quite a laugh because when I see Billy Batten, I'm going to tell him that they're going to put an all-up weight on Formula 2s because Billy weighs about 9 stone, doesn't he? David's about 20 stone, and there's a lot of them 20 stoners, but they seem to be on the shale, the big fat boys, and all the quick tarmac guys are the little lightweights. Well, of course, if they had cars that were underweight and half heavier, they'd be slow boys again, wouldn't they? But yeah, he's enjoying it, you know.
Do you get much involved with families racing, or do you just take a back seat now and let them go on with it?
No, very often it's sort of come in for tea, you know, and then someone says, oh, I need a diff set up. Can you just set that diff up? I want to use that tomorrow, you know. Or it's, can you do me a gearbox? Or broke the engine, can you have a look at it, you know. So we get involved, but although I try to leave him on his own, I want to make him independent, and I don't want to be running around after him. And the credit to him, the car is down to him, it's his car. Yeah, I help build the gearbox, I help build the engine, but I think he's learning, but all the time I'm doing it, he don't want to do it, you know what I mean? He ain't got time to straighten the thing.
And how do you see these retro rods going in the future? Do you think there's a future for them out there, getting some more old drivers back out and having a few laps of racing together?
Well, today has been a nostalgia morning. There was Mickey Codling come over. You remember Mickey Codling from the early days?
Yeah, Dave Hitchin as well.
Hitchin was there twitching a bit, I think. Brian Voyer from the Midlands, who's now about 68, 69. He used to be Mini number 7, and before that he was Mini 38. Brian Voyer and old Pedley, Brian Pedley. Everybody remembers him. They're all really sort of... it's almost tears to the eyes to see the old cars out there, and I think people like that will be very keen, even if it's only perhaps 6 meetings a year, 7 or something like that. But yeah, there is people who are keen on it, and if it happens, all well and good. It's finding the old cars, but they, you know, Mark 1 Escorts and Anglias and Minis are still about if you look hard enough.
You think you get a sponsor for a series like that at this stage? Because I know it costs a bit of money to build the cars and the travelling for yourself.
Yeah, it would be nice if we could find a sponsor come up. I mean, we found it easier, although Malcolm Forbes is my manager, he's found it, I think, easier to get support for the two cars, the Anglia and the Escort, than perhaps we would have done if we were looking for a genuine sponsor to just go and be a race driver again, because there's so many race drivers out there, isn't there? But me and Leapy, there's only one Leapy, there's only one of me, and there's only one, you know, little set of retro cars at the moment, apart from Barry's, Duppy's. So it's good, isn't it? You know, and when we got support, people have been keen. My old sponsors, his old sponsors have been keen to do it.
I've got no chance of getting you back out there and doing the real thing, George.
Well, business-wise, I've taken on so much bloody servicing of tyres, contracts, the circuit meetings as well as the ovals, that we never have a spare weekend hardly. You know, I'm lucky that this is one of my work weekends here, and I'm here today and not Silverstone or Donington or Mallory or Cadwell or somewhere, you know, and even Alton Park, getting up near the border. Well, it's near the border to me.
Yeah, it's a long time since I've seen you over the border. You've not got a knockhill, no associations with knockhill and anywhere?
Well, you know, we haven't got any formulas at the moment, but there is dealers for Yokohama in Scotland, you know, that look after the Scottish sort of side of things, but it's mainly what we're involved with at the moment is tyres as the mainstay of the business. It's got grown and grown, but it's good because the boys keep growing and they eat more and more, so they need bigger and bigger wage packets. So it's a good job the job is growing, you know.
And we always remember seeing you up in Scotland racing. I think you're one of the first pioneers of hot rod racing up there, and you can see how it's progressed here today with James Jameson doing so well in the World Final.
Yeah, I didn't actually get out to see the World, but I hear reports about him going well, you know. And yeah, Cowden Beef was magic, or now as it's known as the race wall, isn't it? Is it race wall we call it?
Yeah, called the race wall nowadays.
Yeah, I know why, bloody wall's hard, isn't it, and all. But yeah, the last time I went up there, I think was with Stephen with the mini stock, when Stephen, the oldest boy, was doing mini stocks. He's now 27, so that was a while ago, but time goes so quick, doesn't it, you know? There's no breaks anymore, you can't stop the years going round, you know, that's the problem with it.
And it has changed quite a bit. You see big changes since you raced, for the better or for the worse?
I don't know. We got a lot of American influence with American tyres in our eyes. That's bad news, and everybody moans about them, but the American tyres are still there. But that's a bit political, isn't it? You know, I say they all should be on Japanese tyres. But then there's the old English company Avon, but then that's owned by the Americans. So I don't know really.
And here with your grandson here.
This is a small boy. He's a small racing driver on the way, aren't we? Do we think we're a racing driver?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I think what you should be really is someone with some brains, like a bank manager or perhaps an accountant or those other crooks, solicitors. Hey, they're the ones that really coin the money. Would you like a job like that? And then you could pay your old granddad and your dad to look after your racing car. And you wouldn't have to work on it, you just do the driving. Now this is little Ryan, he's getting on, he's 5 now, aren't you?
Mini stock 5 years down the line for it?
Yeah, I think probably. Or, well, if he's a little boy, he ought to have a go-kart, because the old karting is favours little kids, but Ryan's already big, he's only 5 and he's tallest in his class. So I think he's going to be another heavyweight job, so we're going to have to look for something with a lot of power where weight don't come into it. I mean, when you look at National Hot Rods, I mean, he's probably the biggest winner we've had for a while, isn't he, Mr. Blackman? He's quite a heavy guy, he's probably 15 stone, he wouldn't mind me saying that. He might be 16 now, he's probably 15, isn't he? And Longy, he goes quite well. But I always look at the other side of it, which is Johnny Stewart. I love Johnny. Johnny's been a customer of ours for years. He's what's John, 9 stone, 10 stone? Now, when you get another guy in a car, like old Donut, Andy Stewart, he's 23, 24, maybe 25 stone. How does he compete against little Bordersley or someone like that?
Well, that's how he's liking it in the wet. I think Andy was the only one calling for the wet race.
Probably, yeah. So I think really what would be nice changing the subject slightly and going to national hot rods, let's see a bloody grading system there, red tops and bloody blues and yellows, because I can't stand it as it is at the moment. If I go to a race meeting, I don't know what's going on, and I'm sure I'm not the only one like that. Most people must be like that, because a lot of the supporters are my age now, and as we get older and stupider, we can't understand it. So make it simple, but the quick blokes at the back, we know what's going on. And what was the other thing we wanted? And we want to weigh the cars and the drivers, so that you've got an all-up weight of, say, 850 kilos. And then a big fat bloke is not pulling around twice as much weight as a little whizzle.
Does that then compromise safety, because the car's so light if you've got a big bloke in it?
Well, that was the thing. That was the point of going to sort of 850 kilos, which is probably what they are, a lot of them with the drivers in them. The lighter guys would have to put in, but the heavy blokes probably wouldn't make much difference. So most of the cars have got ballast in them to get them to the 712 or 700, whatever they're supposed to be. So all you'd have to do is throw your ballast out and carry on as you are. And the guys that have got no weight in themselves put the weight in under the seat, and it's the same. They're all even again. But everything is so controlled in it. The rev limiters, you know, everybody's got rev limiters at 8,000 or whatever it is. Little carburetor jets in them and chokes and things. Tyres exactly the same. And yet, we've got no control on the main thing, which is a bloody weight, other than a minimum car weight. No check with the driver. And what is he? 10% at least, 15% of the car weight when it's on the track? Ever so open, isn't it? So, you know, let's do the job properly. Get into the new bloody millennium, whatever we're in now. 4 years into it, are we already? Can't believe it.
I think we should get you into this NHRPA, George.
Someone said to me today, if there's a chance you having a national, would you come and have another year at it? I said, it depends how much money you got. I hear they're chucking a set of tyres at least at it every meeting, the good ones, you know. So I said, there's 400 to 600 quid, isn't it? I said, it's a bit different from our day, because we might have one new tyre a meeting, but the one that come off went somewhere else on the car, and then the one that come off, the other position in the car, when the tyres were 70 quid, we go and cash it in for 30 quid. So, mate, we didn't have to spend all that money on tyre, and we had a resale value to the old tyre. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, it's good, you know.
I'm sure, George, you'll be looking forward to get out to seeing your fans later on this afternoon. You're quite surprised you've still got so many people that can remember your racing?
I really am. There's people said, I've only come to see you and Leapy. I don't want to see all the rest of it. I said, no, you haven't. They said, I wouldn't have come if you hadn't been here. I said, well, it's nice to hear that we got that sort of support. And a number of people that have said, it brings tears to my eyes. I mean, I can do that talking about it. It's so nostalgic, you know. But I can't believe full-grown blokes saying, oh, I had tears, mate, I've got to tell you. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a trip down memory lane. I mean, I remember you racing in the old days, and certainly the trip down memory lane for me as well. I mean, great to see you guys out there.
Well, I think that's the thing with the old Escort. I think Barry's got understeer at the moment. The whole thing seems a bit straight on, so I think he wants to tune it a little bit to get it a bit more taily, because he likes a car with the tail out, as you know. But the angle box, we've got that nice and taily, you know, and I can get into the corner. Once it's in, I can step on it and hold it in a nice power slide. And I think that's what's missing today. These supersonic cars, they're sitting on the floor, aren't they? The driver's sitting on the floor as well, and they don't do nothing, do they? They just come around like a big old crab in a line. I'm rude, aren't I? But the old cars, they had some character, didn't they? And I don't know, the old boys had character, you know. Maybe it's me, because I don't know any of the young guys. I don't really know them, you know. And I only talk to stock and lightning rod blokes because of obviously supplying them tyres. But most of them I don't really know. David and Stephen do, different kettle of fish again, you know. But, yeah.
Well, George, it's great to talk to you in here. We'll let you have a little rest before you go out and entertain the fans again this afternoon.
We need a rest, don't we, eh? I've been standing out there cooking at that barbecue. Well, I started. Joanne took over, so that's quite good, you know. Anyway, yeah. Thank you for wanting to come and interview us. It's very touching, you know.
It's great to see you, George. A great trip down memory lane. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's the issue now? What's the hold on now? Can I say these guys are ready to go, Roy?
Nick doesn't want to start this one. He said he wants the original.
Look, what? There's nothing that old.
There is.
was the original Star Marshal then. Dave Smith had brought the pace car ready to get these two away. He was the original Star Marshal showman. The real deal, Dave Smith. He's down off of the car then. And let's get these motors rolling. Okay, he'll check on the drivers. He'll make sure they're okay. And then they will be away. It's Polly versus Lee. Dave Smith here. Let's go. So Barry around, takes a wide line, George is through inside. George goes wide that time, and allows Barry through. So Smithy on the rostrum then, giving them the signals. George.
Well, we only job beat him last night. I really tried today, you know what I'm like.
So you gave it that 101%?
Yeah, that's right. Barry said, you know what I'm like, pal? I always like winning, you know what I mean? I said, Barry, I just like beating you, boy.
That was the motivation. Let's turn then from the driver, George Polly, to the master, Barry Lee. And you were all inside, outside, inside, outside. You two are stunning. That was a brilliant one.
That wasn't. I think I come second.
Well, I have to say there was a couple of centimetres in it, and I think, yes, you were number 2.
Yeah, it's a great shame, actually, because, you know, everyone's here. This is about the 100th anniversary that I've been to the World Finals, and it would be nice to have the founder of Speedweekend, Mr. Les and Mavis Eaton here. And really and truly, there's one other person missing. It's a bit of the old pig, we call him, but Duffy Collard. It would be nice to have him out here today, and we could have really done battle, George and I, but the track's getting a bit wet. It was nice to have seen those two people here, though.
Well, you know, we can do all sorts of things. We have all sorts of power. Would you like to see that? Les Eaton, Mavis Eaton, we can probably arrange that. What about Duffy Collard? Yeah! No, we can't hear you. Yeah! Oh, my word. Ladies and gentlemen, the original pig farmer then. There he is, the World Championship winning autocross Mark II Escort. Just as the rain begins to come down there. Alright, once again, our Star Master, the legendary Dave Smith, the flag master, and he gets stuff in the all clear and he's away. So there he has it. Duffy, of course, always the master of sideways. Equally the master of late as well. And I don't think things have changed, quite honestly. Using this as a bit of a warm-up. Very, very sideways. But that was always his style, ladies and gentlemen. The big three back again at Vauxhall International Racing. To see the legends return together. Now, Duffy was telling me that it took an awful lot of preparation to get this Mark II Escort back together again because, of course, the chickens were living in it. And the chickens, so he felt awful bad about that. So into the final warm-up lap then for Number 19, Mick Duffy Collard. Looks absolutely brilliant. Takes the checkers then from the legendary Dave Smith. Superb stuff. So all three of them together, what a picture this is. Duffy Collard, George Polly and Barry Lee. On the start, Rostrum, the legendary Dave Smith. From Hot Racing, 351 Barry Lee, 306 George Polly, number 19 Mick Duffy Collard. So at the moment then it's Barry and George that are dominating, but George really has proved to be the dominator today so far, but then just as I say that, as far as we're concerned, this is what we wanted to see, the big three back together again. With regret, Duffy retires. See that four times in the past as well. That one was close to call. Was that there we are, the legends, all three of them, George Polly, Duffy Collard, and the legendary Star Marshal with the real wrist action, Dave Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliant, let's load them all aboard the... This time, I don't think I want to know, to be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, Leslie, George Polly, Duffy Collard, Barry Lee.
7, the former world champion, and just behind him, Mark Simmons, likewise, former world champion. Tell the order again, it's straight the rest of the day. So with that one. Safely away, much sadly can't say about the pace car, which wasn't safely away. We hope that Dennis, who I think was driving that one, is okay. I think he is. And Mark Fuller in 68. So through they come then, heading down the home straight, and as they do, it's Mark Maffey in 60, who's taking it up from 944. Ronnie Macmillan. Although Macmillan fighting that hard as they go down the far side. Once again, this is one of those races where those who know Vauxhall will be driving right the way round the outside. And Kim Weaver is doing just that in 209. It's something that Colin Gong is usually an expert at as well. He normally likes a big swing around the outside when it's like this. And finally he does go out there and he's conceded the race to 308 Mark Cooper. So, Affy and Macmillan, nothing between them, 60 and 944. And then 308, 278 and 48. And next in line, and Kim Weaver pulls out from this. So Kim, 209, in the end, a great weekend after a weekend. Most of his fans expect him to have a good weekend, but certainly not to be. Martin Dew has just cruised to a halt on the far side, and not a very good pace either in 330. Okay, we don't know about that, but I think he's just about okay. Ian Sutton's had a spin in 101, but again, safely out of harm's way. I think is sort of getting it going. Were a decent thing and pulling it off, although he might come back out and get some more now. Mark Fuller, who started the race in very dramatic circumstances with a spin-off and then a glancing low, hopefully no more on the pace car, is also out. By the wayside, they rapidly walked out, getting in the electrics. This is not nice. Meanwhile, we're still Ronnie Macmillan and Mark Affy battling it away at the head of the grid, 944 and 60. 308 Mark Cooper still running in third. And then beyond that, next in line is going to be 278 Colin Gong. Very sick. The back of the grid, I think, is 95. Doing the works there. And they don't pretend that through torturous ring. There's still a potential for a good race here between Macmillan and Maffey. Still absolutely teeming down here at Speedweekend 2004, one of the wettest Sundays for a long time at Speedweekend. Still Macmillan and Maffey. Maffey didn't know, I think that was Mike Parker still not sounding well. Maffey, I think, still alright. 308 Mark Cooper still running third. 278 Colin Gong is fourth. Paul Tompkins Shembury. Something's brewing up again at front two with Mark Maffey getting his second win now and closing in on Ronnie Macmillan. So a classic Speedweekend confrontation. We've seen some of these over the years. Ireland against England. So where's your money? Will it be Ronnie or will it be Mark? Clearly Mark could have his third, but he's all on his own. But he's had a very good weekend, hasn't he, as Mark? Collingdon is fourth in 278 and Paul Tompkins is fifth. That's not going to change down the order at all, I don't think. But the lead could and may yet change many a time before the end of this. Maffey had a disastrous day yesterday. A much better run today, winning the earlier heat, and might just snatch this one as well. At the moment, Ronnie Macmillan from Northern Ireland still leads the way in 9.44. Mark Maffey tucked in beyond that. Here comes Mark Cooper smashing through the runners in third. And then Collingdon and Paul Tompkins and Charlie Shembury. Right, Maffey once again taking close order on Macmillan. This could be a chance for Maff. Suddenly the inside line has become vacant. They've done 19 laps, it's 5 laps time as the start, and Maff has got through. So number 60, Mark Maffey is then back in front, where he was a little while ago, until Macmillan took it back from him. There's still a chance for this to change. So Mark Maffey and Ronnie Macmillan, the rest, not only are that long way back, there's no way to make any changes, I don't think, in their places either. Macmillan down the far side, very nearly got through as they lapped Gary Farrington. Macmillan certainly not giving this up, splashing through the barrels of the turnstile bend, being encouraged by the home straight, who's still very enthusiastic. The two Kiwis on the far side racing together. Interestingly so, they're probably both going to be back before the end of this. There is but 3 laps to go. Of each one. So Maffey and Macmillan then over to the far side. And suddenly, they can do without this, quite a lot of back markers suddenly appearing. Winkle looks as though he's got problems in 182. Awful lot of speed there. And it didn't sound well. So Maffey and Macmillan continue on their way. 2 laps to go into the back markers they are. Now is this where it's going to be won and lost? We've had a couple of changes on lead between these two. But they've got 1 more lap to settle it. Mark Maffey won heat 1. Is he going to win heat 2? Ronnie Macmillan, well, he's there but not quite there. He's got very, very whack trying it. But sadly for him, that's all he has got, just wet, and I think he may have to finally settle for second, as Mark Maffey then, if only today had been yesterday, but for him, he has gone through today undefeated. He wins that one. Good effort from Ronnie Macmillan, who made a race that wasn't that brilliant, an interesting one, so well done. The rest of them were a bit spread out. It was always a good battlefield, thanks to Maffey and Macmillan then for their efforts, thanks to the others who soldiered on when it would have been easy to say no thank you. Obviously speed's well down, there's a bit of a struggle, but they finally have got there, and that is it. Red flag, Mr. Stone, please. in the one size fits all of the 2 metre hole straight away. Developing now for the win because James Jameson is gradually closing in on Willie Holman's. So Germany, Scotland, England. That's the 1, 2, 3 on this at the moment. So 4, 6, 1 then. Willie Holman's heading through the turnstile bend. His lead is looking a bit fragile now. James Jameson not had a win all weekend, but Willie was there, as I say. He won second, is now looking at the outside of Willie. And Neil Stimpson in 2-7, just keeps a watching eye on both. There's his chance. He's going to come. Now let's get ready on the hill. This is going to be rather tricky. Stages here, 160 and 122 getting involved. made a change on lead as the veteran Steve Hamilton takes up the rein in 59.160. Simon Watt comes firing back, former mini-stock driver. But it's 59 that leads, but just look at Pip Williams in 136, who's making giant strides. Steady and he's gone round, and 114 has gone. Look out for 612 Gary Sparks and 416 Mark Smith as they make their way on the back straight. The defending champion Dan Holden in 161 is a retirement here on the home straight on lap number 6. So it's 59, 136, 612, 416, 22, 219. That's how they run as they go down the far side. But surely it's a matter of time before Pip goes through. Then Gary Sparks has had a real quiet spell just of late. He'll be one to watch. In a 612 back machine. Here they come up the home straight. There's another change on lead. As Pip goes through, Steve Hamilton second. Gary Sparks is third. But it could all be allowed to change as Sparks makes his presence felt. 416 Mark Smith is fourth. Mark Calvin fifth. Then Paul Coulter, Sue Carberry, and the rest of the superstars headed by Colin Owen in 51. So through they go, 136. There's Larry in front, 59 and 612. So Pip Williams leads. 59 Steve Hamilton's forced out by Sparks and he's now firm. So Hamilton who was second rejoins, but now to go 8 or 9. So Pip Williams leads. Loaded on that number 9. Gary Sparks looks a big danger. The world champion 22 Mark Gelman is also beginning to pick up weight. But down the far side is the son of Pip Williams from the East Anglia. Gary Sparks, Mark Gelman is about to go through into third place, although Mark Smith may have something to come back with him out as they go around the turn once more. Meanwhile, back to the lead to Spanner, it's still Pip Williams in 136, followed by Sparks, followed by Gelman, followed by Smith. So Cam Sparks get to Pip Williams in 136. Williams doing a right over to line down the ropes there. It's 23 Matt Carberry, who may well have got a better line. But let's head back to the leaders, 612 and 136 as they go around the turnstile round. And you get the feeling that it could well just be a matter of time on that number 11. Calver's back in third, they've got plenty of ground to make up on the front two. Mark Smith for fourth, Paul Bolton for fifth, then Colin Elwood in sixth, Sue Carberry and the rest, including Steve Hamilton. As the spray flies on the Vauxhall Bowl, and we go to that number 13, it's 136, it's 612 and 22, that's the top three. And Gary Sparks, here we go, into the turn, still there in second, clips the Armco, in amongst the back markers, 136, 612 into the bumper, this is on that occasion, so then Pip Williams in 136, Gary Sparks, the former world champion, a former multi-champion in second, and he goes again, and goes for a charge on the inside, and I thought he was going for a lunge, but in fact, he's gone through, Pip's coming back on the inside, so then Gary Sparks goes through. Pip Williams is second, and he fight back the world champion still in third, and they go down the far side then. The Garber Stadium sponsored Eddie Edwards just up ahead of the leaders as they go into the turn, 612, 136, 22, 416 and 174, and Sparks is away and gone, 115 and 25, through he goes. Williams tries to fight back, Eddie Edwards is there as a back marker, 22 will try and close the gap, but still got around 8 to 10 laps to make up down the far side. So Pip Williams trying to fight back with the East Anglian champ, 612. And they come once more, lap 16. And it's 612 still, 136 still just about within striking distance. That's more back markers to play their part before the end of this. But in fact, even here, Sparks to hold on. Cameron looks good for third. Well back for fourth, which currently Paul Coulter is leading. Here comes Gary Sparks. Through he goes, 136. We lost the Eddie on the entrance to the home straight. 114. He's a casualty. And down the far side, 612 has opened up around about 8 lengths between him and 136. Mark Calvin has got problems and been passed by Paul Coulter for third and Mark Smith for fourth. And it could be the end of the world champion in this one. But meanwhile, Sparks goes on his way, the multi-champion in his time and about to become but surely the national champion bar mechanical problems as he gets round and as he comes up the home straight this time, much to the relief of Mr. Mike Waldeck. They'll go through with 19 laps done and 5 laps next time. 22 is a retirement, so he's gone on that car big time, and he's out of it. 612 then, 136, 174, 416, that's how they run. So here we go then with a 5-lap signal, and through they go, Sparks. Right out the race sponsored by Yarmouth Stadium is likely to be won by a driver who's had more wins there in this formula over the previous years than anybody else almost put together. It really is virtually unstoppable at the Yarmouth Raceway, and here he's going to take the trophies back in the 2004 National Championship. Through goes Sparks then, 4 laps. Through goes Williams, if the result then, and he finishes there. Paul Poulter in third, Mark Smith. And after that, 51.376 is recovered ground amazingly after being involved in one of those earlier incidents. After Jacko, we see Colin Elwood, Steve Hamilton and Stuart Carberry. But here we go then, 3 laps away for Sparks. He's well clear. 136 is second. 174 third. I don't think those places are going to change. You lose 65. Nate Brooks under the boards. Final couple of laps, Owen Wallace then. And through goes Gary Sparks, who really, if in his career just of late, has had the outspot. This is going to produce perhaps what he needs. He's just got to be careful because Martin Brook has spun up ahead of him. But he manages to seal the lap and tiptoes his way through. And he has 1 lap across this remaining of Ipswich 2004. And here we go, the final lap all down. Through goes Sparks. Williams still there in second. Poulter will be third. And down the far side they go. The multi-world champion in his time. And virtually unstoppable in the case of Raceway Yarmouth is going to come through and take the trophies. And here we go, the 2004 National Champion in Silverstone car racing is Gary Sparks. He takes the win. Williams second. And third will be Paul Poulter. We will go straight to Memphis and start a please. There you are, ignition. So we have to actually have a problem with the fence on the back straight, so that's why we are
Always rely on the car, and as we said, so we came out in a minute. We walked out of the gates, but that's the way it is. But anyway, thanks to you for being here for this year. I hope very much you'll be back again in 2005. Thanks as always to all the drivers who've struggled manfully. The pit area is like a swamp at the moment.